Hello, Jefferson. It's awesome to chat with you today. Thank you for the time.
Hey, Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time, man. It's a pleasure.
So, I got to start with the question. In terms of working on this series, it's such a big cast, so many amazing people. What is it like to work on?
It's amazing. I mean, like you said, it's a huge cast, and there's so much to learn from everyone. So we have an incredibly talented cast, and also a cast with like incredibly diverse skill sets and backgrounds. So there's Kevin Costner, who there's nobody in the world who you can learn more about acting from than Kevin Costner. That's an incredible genius who I've been learning from since I was a kid, honestly. But then there's also actors like Forey J. Smith, Mo Brings Plenty, people who really grew up in the cattle ranching and rodeo world, from whom there's so much to learn about the world that we're stepping into. So I've also learned so much from Forey, from Mo, from Jake Ream, from Ryan Bingham. Our big cast means that I'm sort of surrounded by experts in an incredible variety of disciplines and fields from which I've just been trying to soak up as much learning as I can.
Well, Jimmy goes through a lot this season. People feared for his life at the end of season 3, but he's come through into season 4. Now, what I want to know is, for you playing this journey, what was that like? What do you think he was going through? Because it was obviously a strange time.
Yeah, it was an incredibly strange time. And to be honest, it maybe mirrors my experience as an actor working on the show, because at the end of season 3, in the script, Jimmy is lying in the dirt, motionless. And I don't know what that means for him. I don't know if he's going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life. I don't know if he's dead. I don't know. I really have no sense of what's next in his journey. And so the process of reading the scripts for season 4, picking up each new script and finding out what's next for him is an incredible gift. And that's the way Taylor writes scripts too. Taylor's scripts are like novels. They're incredible. They're incredibly rich as the reader, as a reader. So the experience of it's like reading a book about yourself week to week, finding out what happens to yourself next. It's very strange, but an incredible experience. And then I was so grateful for Jimmy's journey. It could have gone so many ways. There were so many branching paths when he decided to get back on that horse at the end of season 3. I'm so grateful that it worked out the way he did, with him sort of actually coming into himself in maybe the first time in his life.
Well, before we get to the really spoilery stuff, I'm assuming a lot of people will have watched the whole season by now. But, for starters, do you think he holds, the way things end, do you think he holds some sort of, did he have something against Mia potentially in her involvement in getting him on the horse at the end of season 3?
I don't think Jimmy holds that against Mia. I think that what Mia wanted for Jimmy was for him to make his own decision, to not sort of be bound by his promise to John Dutton, or the obligation that he feels to John Dutton, but rather to decide for himself sort of which path he wants to go down. And I think it would have been, at that moment, impossible for Jimmy to walk away from rodeo for good. And he needed to get back on that horse to see if it was possible, to see if he could, to see if he had that tenacity. And I think he learned one more brutally painful lesson in that moment. I think he learned one more very difficult lesson in that moment. And if he hadn't gotten back on that horse, he may have had that question mark in his head for the rest of his life, no matter what else came next.
And in a weird way, it leads to his release in a way. And I mean, I love the idea, at least from the way I viewed it, in that we kind of get to the point at the end of season 4 where he's really free, maybe for the first time. How do you think he sees that? Is that how he's viewing it?
Yeah, it really does feel that way, right? I mean, and it's different than before he came to the Dutton Ranch. So before he came to the Dutton Ranch, he was free in some sense. He didn't have any obligations. He didn't have any responsibilities. He didn't have any family. He was just kind of floating. And what the ranch gave him, what working on the ranch has given him now, especially after John sort of gives him permission to go off and live his life, is not only a sense of freedom, but also like a sense of purpose and belonging and sort of greater responsibility, a kind of direction. So even as he's now making his own choices, as he's been kind of freed to decide what's best for him and his little family, him and Emily, at the same time, he also has a direction and he has these skills and he has this sort of path for the first time in his life, which I think is an incredible gift that John Dutton and the Yellowstone have given to him.
And it's a little surprising to be that he's the first Yellowstoner, basically a branded Yellowstoner, to leave and to be let to leave in this way. What do you think what do you hope for his future? Like, what do you hope is going to happen with him?
I mean, I think no matter what happens to him at this point, he's making his own decisions, and I guess I hope that he has a long, a long, peaceful spring with his new fiance and this sort of beautiful, peaceful life ahead of him. Knowing Taylor Sheridan, that's not usually how things work out. So I'll be very curious to see. I want him. He's had an incredible amount of difficulty and violence in his life. He's not old, but he's lived a long life of turmoil and strife. So I hope he can just settle down and have a nice, idyllic life in the Texas countryside. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Also, then he might not be on the show anymore because it sounds a little boring. So I hope that Jimmy lives just interesting enough a life to be on TV and no more interesting than that,
But it does sound, of course, like he's got a future at the Sixes at the very least. And hopefully we're going to see that somewhere. Is there something you'd like to play in him that you haven't had the chance to yet?
I mean, I think this stuff with Emily is so exciting because it represents a side of him, like a sort of secure side of him that we've never seen before. I think we've seen him sort of fall in and out of love and lust, always coming from a place of like aspiration, like sort of hoping to live up to this image that Mia had of him or that Avery had of him. But I'm excited to see who he is when he's really himself. I think every time we've seen him, he's always been trying to impress somebody, trying to live up to some idea, trying to scramble to sort of survive. I'm excited to see who he is when he's not fighting for survival every second of his life, And
it's really, I mean, it's a really maturing moment for him as well. And not to say that he was a kid before this, but it certainly is a different level for him now too.
100%. I mean, I think in a lot of ways he was a kid and he still is a kid to a certain extent. I mean, I certainly feel like in some ways, I have so much to learn still. There's so many steps I haven't taken. And I think the same is true for Jimmy. He has so much to learn still. There's so much he doesn't know about life. There's so many ways in which he is still that naive kid that Rip dragged out of the trailer house 4 seasons ago. But he's certainly stepping into that kind of self-actualization that you can call growing up or you can call, becoming a man or a cowboy or whatever you want to call it. But he's certainly stepping into a sense of ownership of his own life and a sense of accountability for his own decisions,
For sure. Well, the last thing I'll ask you is, in terms of the show is about a lot of people who they're not exactly good guys. They're not bad guys. It's this gray kind of center zone. Which way do you think he leans? I know you have to view him as just a person, but do you think he leans one way or the other?
Oh yeah, I think he's a good guy. I think one of the reasons he's the first branded man to leave the ranch, with permission from John Dutton, is that I think everybody knows he's not a killer. I think everybody knows he's not, he doesn't have that sort of dark drive in him. I don't think he's particularly useful as a soldier in the Dutton army. And that feels to a certain extent why he's free to go. It's I don't think Jimmy's ever going to be, well, who knows? Who knows what his future holds? Because, enough bad things going wrong can turn anyone into a Rip or turn anyone into a Malcolm Beck or turn anyone into, a dangerous, a dangerous person. Enough stuff going wrong in a row can really turn a good guy into a bad guy. So I don't know what's going to happen to Jimmy, but I think that right now, as he drives away from that ranch, he's a good guy.
Well, we'll certainly hope that Emily stays safe then, and that nothing bad goes wrong here.
Yeah. I hope a long, peaceful, beautiful, idyllic life. Just a much more boring show, just a nice, a nice house with a garage. That's my dream for Jimmy.
Thank you so much for the time. Really a pleasure. Have a great day.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Have a good one.